We've concluded the chapter of Al-I'rāb. The chapter of Al-I'rāb according to Ibn Ajurru. Bear this in mind. The classes that we have with us today, they are not basically this entire series of Al-Ājrūmiyyah is not meant to literally break down every single piece as part of what the text is providing. Actually is to introduce to you the grammar of Arabic to know exactly. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Once again, inshallah ta'ala, the last class what we covered is we looked at al-khafdu wa alamatuhu. We looked at the khafd sign and the khafd and its signs, and we said that when it comes to al-khafdu, we have three mainly, which is al-kasra, wal-ya'u, wal-fatha. And then there is something that we just touched upon, but we didn't really explain it, which is the words that end with a fatha at the end, although being in a state of khafd, while the khafd's original sign is the kasra. The khafd's original sign is the kasra, and we say khafd and jar, they are the same thing. أليس كذلك? الخفض والجر, they mean the same thing. Don't forget that, inshallah ta'ala. And when a word in a state of jar is in a state of jar, as we know, the first sign of the jar, which is the alama al-asliya, the original sign of it, is the kasra. The default sign is the kasra. And the rest, they are far'iyya. Literally, they come secondary after the kasra itself. But they are signs. You have to use them. Bear that in mind. And when it comes to the jazm, which is the next chapter that we are, the next topic of the alamatul i'rab that we are looking at today, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. First, we'll read what the matn provides us from the Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala, nafa'ana Allahu bihi wa bi'ulumihi fi ad-darain ameen. And then we're going to start to do the breakdown, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى: وللجزم علامتان السكون والحذف. فأما السكون فيكون علامة للجزم في الفعل المضارع الصحيح الآخر، وأما الحذف فيكون علامة للجزم في الفعل المضارع المعتل الآخر وفي الأفعال الخمسة التي رفعها بثبات النون. نعم. Now the Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala provides us that in the case of the jazm, as you can see over here, is in the case of the jazm, what do we have? We have that lil jazmi alamatan. The jazm, it has two signs mainly, and they are as-sukunu wal-hadfu. As-sukunu wal-hadfu. As-sukunu and al-hadfu. Something that I need to bring to your attention is this, is the following. Look at this. When it comes to the jazm, al-jazmu خاص للأفعال. Okay? It's specific for the af'al. The jazm is specific for the af'al, meaning the jazm is specific for the verbs. So we're focusing on verbs alone. Bear that in mind. We are focusing on verbs alone, inshallah ta'ala. What is that supposed to mean? If we're focusing on verbs, then verbs, what you need to realize is this. There is something called the sukoon at the end, and that is this sign, or there is something called omission, to omit. Understood? And that is al-hadfu. Now it depends on the type of verb. Remember when we talked about words, we said that we have two types of words mainly. We have two types of words, although there are several types. When it comes to the nouns, when it comes to the verbs, they're all the same. When it comes to Arabic words, except for the pronouns, for not pronouns, sorry, for the prepositions, for the nouns and the verbs, there's something about them. They are those which are fine. They don't have an issue at the end of them. Basically, the ending are okay. That's sahih. They're in a good, they're in the positive state. They don't really have any problems. Lakin there are those which end with problematic letters. If you remember what we mentioned. For example, if you look at the whiteboard here, if we have the word ذهب, ذهب, ذهب in the past tense, this is the past, and then the present of it is يذهب, يذهب, يذهب. أليس كذلك? This is the present. لكن there are those words, which in the past tense, for example, you have the word nawa. Okay, nawa. Nawa is even a hard word. Nawa is actually even a hard word. Look at this. Da'a, basically, he invoked, doing dua basically, or summoned, okay? Da'a, in the past, you have in the present, it's yad'u, yad'u, present. Now, we said problematic letters are 3. These letters which are known as أحرف العلة, أحرف العلة, the letters which cause problems when it comes to the words themselves, they are 3 as we said, and they are al-alifu, wal-wawu, and al-ya. Don't forget that. Al-alif, wal-waw, and ya. And mainly you find them at the end. We're talking specifically at the end of words. Now this is what happens. When a word does not end with any one of these, it's okay. You don't have an issue. The signs are clear. So for example, when it comes to the issue of as-sukunu, and hadfun nun, this is what you have. Look, as-sukunu, the sukun, alamatan lil jazm, is the sign of the jazm في الفعل المضارع, in the present tense, الصحيح الآخر, which is okay at the end. Basically, الصحيح الآخر. It doesn't have any defect. It doesn't have any problematic letter at the end. It's okay. لكن when it comes to الحذف, when it comes to the omission itself, we said the first one is السكون, isn't it? Which is this. We said as-sukun is this sign, having a sukun at the end. Lakin the omission sign, alamatan lil jazmi, it is the sign for the jazm fi, on or in, at al-fi'l al-mudari' al-mu'tal al-akhir. The first one is the present tense which has a defect, a problematic letter at the end. Basically, it has a illa at the end. The first one, it doesn't have any sort of illa, which causes it to have a problem, and the problem has to be omitted. In this case, because of that defect letter, what do? You have to omit it. You have to remove the letter. And the next one is al-af'al al-khamsa, the 5 particular verbs. Now let's come to break this down. Of what you might have been aware of, majority of the times of what you hear is the al-af'al al-khamsa. أليس كذلك? Al-af'al, bear my handwriting, by the way. Al-af'al al-khamsa. أيوة, al-af'al al-khamsa, the 5 particular verbs. These in specific. That's what you need to bear in mind. Now, they are taf'aluna, as you know, taf'aluna. Another one is yaf'aluna. And then you have the do, and that is taf'alani, taf'alani, yaf'alani. And then you have one which is single, and that is for the female, and it's in the present. Taf'alina, taf'alina. Now what happens here? What happens here? Taf'aluna, yaf'aluna, taf'alani, yaf'alani. What happens here? These, by the way, even if they are known as the particular 5 verbs, bear this in mind. They are scales in the Arabic words. They are known as scales. They are used as a means to an end for you to know how to use Arabic words particularly. So these type of words that you will find which are in the scale, such as this one, you know, okay, what are the rules behind them? Now this might become a little bit mind-boggling right now. Remember, it's a topic related to sarf, morphology. I don't want to bring it over here, but just understand the concept itself. Bear this in mind. The classes that we have with us today, they are not basically this entire series of Al-Ājrūmiyyah is not meant to literally break down every single piece as part of what the text is providing. Actually is to introduce to you the grammar of Arabic, to know exactly, okay, this is how grammar looks like, and this is how I should expect it. So when you start diving deeper into the science itself, you already know exactly what, basically, in other words, as the words are used today, what you're signing up for or what to expect. You already know that. Lakin beyond that, of what you should be doing right now is understanding how do the rules work. That's what we need to know, inshallah ta'ala. So when you look at this, when it comes to the omission part, we said that you either have a present tense which has a defect at the end, and that is, for example, for this one, we already done number 1, and number 1 is al-af'al al-khamsa, the 5 particular verbs. We mentioned them, only mentioned them. We haven't done anything about them. Like when it comes to the other one, it's al-fi'l al-mudari', al-fi'l al-mudari' al-mu'tal al-akhir. That which has a harf illa at the end. Now that could be yaqdi, yaqdi. Okay? Look at the end of it. It ended with a ya. Look at the following word. Yad'u. Yad'u. Look at the end of it. Ended with a wow. Look at this following word. You have yakhsha. Okay, yakhsha. Look at this one, ended with a short alif, basically an alif. In this case, what happens is when they are now, as you already know, look at this. You notice al-fi'l al-mudari' al-mu'tal al-akhir. We're going to start with this one. In this one, it's much easier to start with the hard ones and then deal with them as you move along, inshallah. Aywa. Al-fi'l al-mudari' al-mu'tal al-akhir. This one, the present tense which has a harf illa at the end. With this one, now look. نعم. يقضي, يدعو, يخشى. In this case, when you have a jazm preposition such as lam or in, and we're going to look at this inshallah ta'ala in the next lessons as we move along, النواصب 10 والجوازم 18, according to what the Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala provides in the text. But there might not be limited to that, because the further you go, the more you will learn. The further you go in other texts, the more you learn, such as Qatr al-Nada, such as Alfiyat ibn Malik, and all of those. When you go further and literally and become better and better, you come from the beginner level to the intermediate level, you develop yourself, and you go to the professional level. You notice that what happens is that with the more you study, the more the breakdowns, the more expansion that you find بإذن الله الكريم. لكن in this case that you have, the Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala, he limited himself for only the mubtadi'een. For the beginner students, this is what they require. This is what they require. Now, the further we go, we're going to mention all of these jawazim prepositions for the jazm prepositions, for the nasb, and all of those. We're going to start breaking them down. But for now, I'm just going to mention two for you so that they can be much clearer. I don't want to give you too much so it becomes difficult. I just want to give you a glimpse or a drop of what you need in order for you to understand the concept. Now look at this. Lam and in. Lam and in. Now lam commonly used and in is commonly used as well. Now when you see lam, for example, lam, then you're going to expect, if you have the single form verb which ended with a problematic letter, with a harf illah, such as, for example, let's take the word yaqdi in this case. The word yaqdi, what happens to it? What happens to it is yaq, look, yaqdi. This is what happens. You remove the ya and you only have yaqdi, yaqdi. Okay, yaqdi, lam yaqdi, like that. So the ya is removed, which means it's omission now. We're talking about the present tense, which has a what? A problematic letter at the end. We're only talking about that first. When you have the word yad'u, mathalan, you have the word yad'u, as we mentioned, which ended with a waw. What would you have? You have yad'u, in this case. Yad'u. أليس كذلك? It's as simple as that. And if you have the word يخشى, what would you have? يخشى. We would have omitted the alif at the end. That's how it works. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to the af'alul khamsa, when it comes to the 5 particular nouns, when it comes to the 5 particular verbs, 5 particular verbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we omit as well. But is it similar to that of what we looked at? Is it similar to the present tense, which ends with a harf illah, which ends with a problematic letter? Or is it a bit different? It's slightly different. How is it slightly different? This is how it is. This one, when it comes to this one, you're particularly omitting the problematic letters. Lakin when it comes to al-af'al al-khamsa, to al-af'al al-khamsa, al-af'al al-khamsa, what do you notice? You notice that we omit the noon. So if we have the word taf'aluna, like this, what are you doing? It's going to be taf'alu. Okay, taf'alu. You omit the noon. The noon goes away. Now this is the writing standards. Basically, you add the alif at the end for taf'alu. Like, that's not the purpose of what we're here for. The purpose is to show that the noon is gone. Okay, the noon is omitted basically. It's not there. The noon is gone. In the case of yaf'aluna, the same applies. Yaf'aluna, like this. What do you find? We omit the noon as well. You will find yaf'alu. Okay, and then when you have taf'alani, what do you get? Taf'ala. And the noon is omitted as well, isn't it? and then you have يفعلان, يفعلا. أيوة, يفعلان, and then another one is the last one, تفعلين, تفعلين, like this. What you find is تفعلي, تفعلي. So what happens? You omit the noon. In this case, you notice that وعلامة جزمه حذف النون, وعلامة جزمه حذف النون. Now what's the sign of it being in a state of jazm? What is the sign of it being in a state of jazm? The omission, the omission of the noon. The noon. It's as simple as that. You omit the noon and then it becomes in a state of jazm. You omit the noon and then it stays in a state of jazm. When it comes to this one, علامة جزمه حذف حرف العلة. This one, which we said the فعل المضارع المعتل الآخر, the فعل المضارع المعتل الآخر, the present tense, which has a حرف علة at the end, the علامة for it, the sign of it to show that it's in a state of jazm, is to omit the حرف علة, the problematic letter. Now, just to bring to your attention, by the way, just to bring to your attention, I don't advise anyone to study grammar before they know at least some words of Arabic. Basically, you've studied some Arabic vocabulary, you've gone through some lexicons, and then you'd see, okay, how much have you learnt? You have a handful of vocabulary, and those vocabulary, they are nouns, they are verbs, they are prepositions, and also you have, for example, pronouns, demonstrative nouns, you have present tense verb, past tense verbs, and several types of verbs, verbs which do not have problematic letters at the end, which do not end in that state, and those which end with a problematic letter. You can literally use those verbs as you move along. Once you know those type of words, you have those, then it's much easier for you to connect the dots on what you are learning. Otherwise, it becomes difficult as you learn because you wouldn't be able to grasp the concepts. What we are doing right now, just introducing to you how grammar helps you on your journey of learning Arabic. This is one aspect of Arabic, not the entire Arabic, the Arabic language. No, it's only one aspect, because it's impossible for you to learn Arabic to say that I've studied grammar and you already know Arabic. It's like a person is trying to literally cook food, and then they literally say it's enough if I have salt, or maybe I have ingredients but you don't have the main food. Ingredients without the main food literally doesn't work. Now the main food might be the grammar, the vocabulary itself, and then these ingredients literally do what? Spice up the food and make the food to become delicious. أليس كذلك? When it comes to grammar, it perfects your language, and it corrects your mistakes, and it makes you to become to become understandable. Without grammar, you wouldn't be able to distinguish between what you are trying to explain about the detail, what's the detail you're covering, who did the action, who was the victim, and all of that, of course. And without the morphology as well, it will be difficult for you to know how to use the vocabulary and have that powerhouse, which literally provides you with the strength of the language itself, inshallah. But first, it all starts with the vocabulary. So my advice is study some vocabulary, memorize them, know the meanings of them, how to use them, just abstractly, literally, as an abstract. Just know the meaning of them. You don't have to literally know, okay, I can use it this way, I can change it this way, this change, like, no. Just master them as they are. Then once you do that, then you can now start going further a little bit, inshallah ta'ala. So coming back to the notes, what do we have? We said that we said that the Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that للجزم علامتان. The alamat of a jazm are two: السكون and حذف النون. السكون and حذف النون. When it comes to the sukun, it appears at the end, it's remained. The sukun remains at the end of a present tense verb, not past tense, not commanding tense, future tense, la, a present tense verb which is complete at the end. It doesn't have a problem at the end. You can see the letter. We said that a present tense verb which ends with a problematic letter is that which ends with either alif, waw, or ya. Lakin the omission only happens on a present tense verb which ends with any one of these three problematic letters. And the next type is al-af'al al-khamsa, the five verbs, the five particular verbs that we have, inshallah ta'ala. Now, what I want to bring to your attention, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, is a summary of the Arabic inflections. We've covered all of them, alhamdulillah, up to now, and we've concluded. We've concluded the chapter of Al-I'rāb. The chapter of Al-I'rāb according to Ibn Ājrūm. The chapter of Al-I'rāb, we've concluded it according to Ibn Ājrūm. Once you've literally passed this stage, the next stage that comes literally allows you to now start delving into breaking down these alamatul i'rab, and also at the same time learning also the aqsamul kalima, aqsamul kalam, the types of speech. You now start using them, because the rest of what appears, inshallah ta'ala, is literally al-marfu'at al-asma', babu marfu'at al-asma', the asma' which are in the state of raf'a, and then you come to al-mansubat, babu al-mansubat, when it comes to the nasb states of words, and then when it comes to babu al-makhfudat, when it comes to babu al-makhfudat, words which are in a state of jar at the same time. And I believe that's the end. That's the end of the chapter. He doesn't even look into anything related to Babul Majzumat. He doesn't even look into at least the Jazm, and then start teaching us, okay, the Jazm, the breakdown, some of it, because it's not needed right now. It's not needed right now. What he does is he provides us all of that of what we need. And at the moment, when it comes to the summary, you notice, what do we have? This is what we have: a summary of Arabic inflections. First of all, we've learned that Arabic words, when it comes to the Arabic grammar itself, we're specifically focusing at the end of the words, the ending of words. Al-kalimatul arabiyyah, we said that the imma sarf is imma, they are morphology, or an-nahu when we break them down. So as sarf, morphology, they focus on the abniyatul kalima, the building blocks of the words, while an-nahu focus on the end of the words. وعلامات الإعراب خاصة, the inflections, the Arabic inflections, we said that they are four. And that is الرفع, النصب, الجر, known also as الخفض, and الجزم. And we said that when it comes to alamat, we have العلامات الأصلية. We have the original signs for each inflection. We have the original signs for each type of inflection. For the raf'a, for the nasb, for the jar, and the jazm, each one of them have the original signs. And they are known as al-raf'u. The original sign for al-raf'u is what? Al-dhammatu. The original sign of al-nasbu is al-fatha. The original sign of al-jar is al-kasra. The original sign of al-jazm is al-sukun. Now the secondary signs for each. وعلامات الإعراب الفرعية. Now علامات الإعراب الفرعية, the secondary signs, which literally they are not the original signs. When it comes to the inflections, they are al-waw, the waw, the alif, the ya, the noon, the kasra, and the fatha, and the hadf. The fatha, and also the omission that we just looked into right now, the omission. Now, can we specifically say which one is for which at the moment? Actually, no. If you go to the previous classes, inshallah ta'ala, you'll notice that we broke these down. So for example, when it comes to the al-af'alul khamsa, when it comes to the af'alul khamsa itself, you notice that the remaining of the noon at the end of it is the sign of it while in a state of rafa. Now let me give you an example. so that it can be very clear for you, even though we've done this in the previous classes, inshallah ta'ala. If you go to the playlist below on the description, you'll notice that those are covered already. Go through the playlist, go through all of the lessons, inshallah ta'ala, up to now. You should be able to have some sort of understanding, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. The classes are not long as you think. They're literally kept to at least half an hour or a little bit more, so that they can be digestible. That's the whole purpose. If you have just stumbled on this class and you haven't done the rest, I would advise you to start from the beginning, slowly but surely, inshallah ta'ala, up to now, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. It becomes much easier. It becomes much easier. And if you join the Telegram group, you notice there we provide you with the notes for every single class, inshallah ta'ala. So look at the whiteboard. What do we have? So this same يفعلون, I will just use يفعلون, by the way. يفعلون, from the five particular verbs. You notice when it's in a state of rafa', the noon remains. Okay, we say that the alama, the sign of it being in a state of rafa', it is thubutun noon, thubut an-noon, and that is the remaining of the noon. Okay, the remaining of the noon and the existence of the noon. Okay, the existence of the noon. Lakin the sign of it being in a state of nasb, it being in a state of nasb or in a state of jazm, it is what? It is the removal, the omission of the noon. Hadfun noon, hadfun noon. Understood? It is hadfun noon. When in a state of nasb, or jazm, it is the hadf of the noon, and that is يفعل, like this. Okay, يفعل. Now the noon is gone. أليس كذلك? Now this is one of it. Now if you look at the علامات الفرعية, we just covered the noon. أليس كذلك? Another example, for example, the waw itself. When it comes to the waw, how do we use the waw? مثلا, we have جمع مذكر السالم. One example I'll give you. جمع مذكر السالم for the رفع only for the رفع. أليس كذلك? مسلمون, the masculine plural noun. مسلمون, the sign of it, it's الواو, the existence of the waw. وعلامة رفعه الواو, وعلامة رفعه الواو, and the sign of it being in a state of rafa' is the existence of the waw at the end of it. We don't look at the noon. Remember, the difference between this and this is that this is a noun and this is a verb. The difference between the two is that one is a noun, one is a verb. And if this is a verb, if this is a noun particularly, then the i'rab of it will be ending with a waw. And يفعلون, if it's a verb, the i'rab of it will be ending with the existing of a noon. Only if the noon is omitted, removed, what do you say? حذف noon. And in this case, for example, the muslimuna, we said that when the verb is in a state of nasb or jazm, we remove the noon. أليس كذلك? لكن مسلمون, when in a state of nasb or jar, in a state of nasb or jar, what do we have? We have muslimina, al-ya at the end, and that is muslimina. Okay, muslimina, and that is this, by the way, this ya and this waw, like that. And these are just two examples. So if you look carefully on the summary we provide you with over here, is that these are the alamat al-far'iyyah. These are the signs known as the other signs, these secondary signs. Although they are used, you must use them. They are there, but they are not the original signs. They are the signs which come after the original signs. Understood? It's much easier like that. For you to know what's the main sign of al-rafa' and the nasb and the jar and the jazm, you have to look. Okay, they are known as the harakat, the diacritics themselves, the vowels, al-dammatu wal-fathatu wal-kasratu wal-sukun. Understood? But the rest, they are known as al-alamatul far'iyyah. The best of books which I love, and they've done a lovely job when it comes to al-alamatul far'iyyah. Even Sheikh Khalid al-Azhari al-Allamah, rahimahullah ta'ala, in his Al-Azhariyah, you notice that he provides this summary amazingly. He distinguishes between the Alamat al-Asliyah and Alamat al-Far'iyah. And if you look at Tuhfat al-Saniyah li Muhammad Muhyiddin rahimahullah ta'ala, which is the sharh of this Ibn Ajurrum that we are looking into, you notice that mashallah tabarakallah, he's literally done a fantastic job into showing that, okay, these are the Alamat al-Asliyah, but the rest, they are Alamat al-Far'iyah. Okay, but you need to read through the lines, and then you'll see it bi'idhnillah al-kareem. Inshallah ta'ala, this will be the end of this class. The next class bi'idhnillah al-kareem, we'll start looking into a summary of all of what we've done in terms of the words, not the alamat anymore. The single form nouns, جمع مذكر السالم, جمع مؤنث السالم, جمع التكسير, when it comes to الأفعال الخمسة, الأسماء الخمسة, in other words, الأسماء الستة. And inshallah ta'ala, everything that we've covered on the types of words that we've looked into according to the i'rabat. And once we've done that, inshallah ta'ala, immediately in that same class, if we could, we're looking at the signs, the nawasib, those prepositions which cause a word to be in a state of nasb, and also prepositions which cause the verbs to be in a state of jazm. We're going to look into those, because remember, we looked at the prepositions which cause the noun to end in a state of kasra, the preposition for jar. We looked at those to be in a state of jar. We've done that already. Now let's look at the nasb, the nawasib, and look at the jawazim. And once we've covered that, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, we'll enter into the next phase of the text itself, inshallah ta'ala. Remember, what we've covered is phase 1. And then we have part 2 of the text. It's one text, but it's 2 parts. The first part, it's like it's introducing you, it's preparing you so that you can be prepared for the second part. And the second part is literally an illustration, elaboration of the first part itself. So if you don't understand the first part of the text up to now, which is we've covered the entire first part, then it's basically impossible for you to understand the second part of the text, because everything is covered already. If you don't understand the first part, there's no point of going through the second part, inshallah ta'ala, which is my advice. Go through everything up to now so that you can understand the part that is coming next, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah be with you. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.